Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Simple Talk. Today, I decided that we should be speaking with our head of marketing, Theresa, because she has a wealth of knowledge, and I think everyone needs to hear from her. So, good morning, Theresa.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in. First
Sure.
question, what would you say is the number one issue people have with their marketing?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of two things that go like hand in hand with each other and they kind of piggyback off. And I think the first thing is that people just think of marketing as kind of like a chore. So like it's creates an unnecessary amount of stress because like I know I need to be doing things, but I might not have the time or the staff to do it, or maybe my knowledge is a little bit limited, so it's a little bit of a type of hesitancy for them. Then I think it's also timing. So a lot of times when we're working with individuals, when we're having kickoff meetings, they do say that I just don't have time to do all of these things. And sometimes that is very true. And then sometimes it is just a resistance to kind of diving into something that's new. So it's a little bit of a twofold thing there, but oftentimes it's just lack of confidence in themselves and then timing.
All right. Well, I, for one, am glad that you're around, so I don't. So what is the one thing that could make the most difference in someone's marketing?
Yes, definitely a plan and a strategy. So those two things are different, but they are another thing that just kind of plays off of each other. So like having the forethought to say, okay, I'm going to take my marketing quarterly. So like doing 3 months in advance, as opposed to just taking it day by day, because then you really do lose out on the strategy or creation of like a sales funnel. Everything becomes very last minute, or it's not as effective as it could be. So if you take the time to say, okay, I'm going to create like a quarterly plan, which is 3 months in advance, you have like a content plan, you map out what you're going to be doing in each month and what kind of areas you need to like support that endeavor. That's pretty key. But then also having that strategic thought of, okay, if I'm launching a product or service, I need an email campaign, or I need to update Google My Business, or I need to be doing reels or whatever it is. Having that strategy is really key. And a lot of people don't think about things like that. They're just like, oh, I'm launching something. Let me just post one time about it. And that's pretty much it. Then they don't see the ROI that they want. It's because that strategy is really missing from what they're doing.
I see a lot of people lately are getting these grants for marketing, and they're just like, oh, I'm just going to go to this person and get this video. And they get this video and it doesn't do anything for them because they didn't have any forethought as to why they were getting that video. And
Totally.
the person that they reached out to get the video from isn't a marketing person and doesn't have that strategy behind it. So they're basically just throwing money away.
Yeah, it's really important when you're outsourcing too, I think, to think about who you're working with. So often when I work with people, there is that kind of stigma against outsourcing because like, oh, I can't have somebody in office that I can see what they're actively doing. And it becomes a little bit of a few misconceptions, which does make our job a little bit difficult. And we have to do that role of kind of destigmatizing what outsourcing actually is. But it's about making the right choice of who you're going to outsource to. You want to go to somebody who can not only get you results, but truly like cares about your business. So like whenever we are working with somebody like onboarding, we're always kind of talking about the bigger picture. It's not just what piecemeal pieces do you kind of want to get out of this session or from working together with us. It's what overarching thing are we trying to achieve, whether it be like through social media or email or whatever it is. Like we need to think more strategic. And that does come, I think, with a certain care for somebody's business. So you don't want to just outsource for the sake of outsourcing. You want to outsource because you know that person or that group really does care about your business and moving the needle for you.
Yeah. So like you end up with these long form videos on Facebook and you lose people in the first 20 seconds and you're like, wait, I paid for a 3-minute video that I really probably could have shot something on my phone and edited out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need somebody too to tell you like you don't need a 3-minute video. Like it's not an opportunity to get revenue for like an outsourcing business. It's an opportunity to say strategic wise, like 20 to 30 seconds max might be what you need for a video because people's time is really precious to them and they're not going to spend 3 minutes watching a video. So right away, if somebody came to us and said, hey, we need a 3-minute video, I'm going to be like, we can do that, but I would recommend maybe a couple 30-second videos instead, right? And then just to strategically use them either on their like website or in their social media or reel or whatever that kind of looks like. But we would have the forethought to say that. We wouldn't just say like, yeah, we'll do a 3-minute video, because that we know just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, I know a lot, like I'm sure you can attest to this, but a lot of our clients, when they come on, they are like, oh, I want this. And then we talk to them, we're like, no, you don't, you don't want that. And that's not going to be what you need. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what's great about like what we do specifically, because it's not like they just sign on and say, oh, I want to do this, and we just go ahead and do it, right? Like we kind of think a little bit more strategic in that sense, because nothing we do or the things that we do, we don't want that to fail, right? So if we're not thinking long-term or strategy, it's more than likely whatever you're working on is going to fail anyway, right? So sometimes it does take a little bit of massaging that expertise into there, because people are very driven, obviously, and excited about things, and they want to kind of do what they want to do. But I think it's important to have that conversation and show them the numbers and show them the strategy behind things, to say, I totally get that's what you want to do, but maybe there's a different way to do things, or maybe there's something different completely that we can kind of explore to kind of help you.
Yeah, like those people who are like, oh, I need to do social media so I can get more sales. But it's kind of like, maybe we should work in the background first and work on that stuff before we start trying to promote more sales, because you don't have the infrastructure to actually take on those sales.
Totally. Yeah. A big thing is structure too. And I think just a general awareness, and it's definitely not knocking anybody. You can only know what you can know, right? Like, so it's definitely not a fault of anybody. Like when they're having these sessions and they think like, oh, I'm going to be doing this, or I want to do this. If they don't know any better, then how are they supposed to do what it is that they need to do? So that's where we kind of come in, obviously. And we're just trying to say, like, strategic wise, let's think about just something different or something new or something fresh or something that aligns with your goals, right? Like we don't want it to be some boring thing just because your competitor do it, because we want to do it better than your competition.
You don't want to be cookie cutter and the same as your competition. You want to be different and better.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been great. But for anybody who wants more of this, there are so many of our webinars taped that Theresa has done on marketing that you can get some skills there. And we have our freebies on the website if you want to check that out. So thanks so much for joining me today, Theresa.
Yes, thank you for having me. I hope everybody learned at least a little something today.